I'm David, and this is David Talks.
And I'm also David, and I'm on David Talks.
Well, let's get right into it.
Let's get into it. Can we get really into it?
I definitely want to get into it. We're going to talk about what's going on today.
Before we do that, I was actually thinking about stealing the idea I saw was
Which was?
the diaper awards. Man, I gotta be a part of the diaper awards.
Okay, well, I don't blame you. That's something very unique, and sure, what you got?
Man, I gotta give a diaper to Q, man. He didn't even know about this, but Q, you get a diaper award.
For what?
You're supposed to be here, man, with us, but next time you're gonna be here, you can take away that diaper. Q gets the diaper.
Well, how many diapers does he get?
Oh man, you get a diaper and a half. I'm gonna be generous. You get half a diaper. So one's like a little poopy diaper, the other one's a little, I don't know. It might be poopy, but you
First time bathroom diaper?
first time back to the diaper. It's more like cake.
Oh, cake diaper.
But cakey diapers. So that's the diaper wall. You got any diaper walls?
Well, I mean, I wasn't thinking of, let me think. I'm gonna give a diaper award to this kid that I just seen earlier today, trying to make a U-turn, crashed into a car and ran.
Oh yeah, you saw me about that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally know the guy. I just know he hit a car and ran. So I'm gonna give him about 5 diapers.
That's, to me, a hit and run, especially on somebody else's vehicle, is definitely 5 diapers. That's crazy.
That, you know, is so I know somebody. Their car got rear-ended while they were asleep, and the lady came back the very next day and knocked on the door and said it was me, and she took total responsibility for it, which I think is absolutely amazing. If I knew the lady's name, I would definitely say it here. I don't know too many people that would do something like that. That would actually admit, and she totally destroyed this car.
That's crazy.
To the point where the dealership had to give her, or the insurance company had to give her a brand new car to drive around until she, the insurance money got her another one. I mean, it was completely destroyed.
That's probably why the first people left, because they didn't have insurance. The insurance is important.
Maybe that's the case. I mean, I don't want necessarily anyone to go to jail, but I mean, if you're not having the right credentials, maybe you shouldn't be on the road.
Alright. Today we're going to do things a little bit different than I've seen in your other episodes. I wanted to kind of talk about current events, current topics.
That was great.
The first thing I wanted to talk about that's been going on the whole time on social media this whole week is the Popeye sandwiches, man. I don't know if you heard about this Popeye.
Yeah, I did hear about the Popeyes. I seen something online, people fighting. It was ridiculous.
What's crazy about the people fighting about Popeye's chicken is they actually did an episode on Boondocks about people going crazy on lines for the chicken. And
Oh my God! You know what? By the way, I like that animation. Boondocks, Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
You the man.
What's crazy about the Boondocks is they're starting to, they do a lot of commentary stuff like that. They're telling the future a little bit, kind of like how The Simpsons does often, where they predict the future, like Donald Trump being president.
I also like The Simpsons.
So it's funny how satire and certain things that are supposed to be funny and outrageous or outlandish is like actually becoming reality.
What a prediction!
That's crazy.
I wonder if those animations have any influence on the society at the present.
Like subconsciously guiding, our way through society, right?
I kind of think it's very possible. It happened with I won't say his name, but he became president.
Right. Yeah. I think it's possible, especially like how movies, try to predict the future and they have certain technologies and stuff like that. I think people do gravitate to try to invent things or make things easier, and maybe do the movies or comedies and stuff like that. But definitely subconsciously, even changing the, societal thinking and stuff like that. Because I mean, a lot of things that's going on now, it seems like comedy or like satire of what reality would have been.
Very interesting. And how about this? In regards to the Popeyes chicken, McDonald's is coming out with a burger September 11th.
What's crazy about that is they're already selling it inside McDonald's. They can't even wait for it. They probably have so much.
Wait, didn't you have one?
I have one. It's delicious. I'm not
Really?
gonna lie. I had it 2 days in a row.
Oh my God, really?
And
Wow.
I don't like onions on anything, really don't. But they didn't take the onions off, McDonald's, and I ain't gonna lie, it was still delicious. It was still great.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't eat meat anymore, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
Right. Yeah, it's not just McDonald's. It's different things. Like I think Chick-fil-A started the chicken sandwich trend. I
Yes.
could be wrong, but from there, different franchises are starting to pop up with chicken sandwiches. I think Wendy's try to get them. Wendy's did the Twitter thing. They try to throw shots at certain other restaurants,
interesting.
like jokingly. But like it's fun and it's cool and stuff like that. But it actually reminds me when you said you didn't eat meat. There's a story that happened, and I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
This woman took her neighbors to Supreme Court
Okay.
because they kept having barbecues. I wanted to ask what you thought about that. They were having barbecues. They were cooking a lot of meat.
Right.
And she was saying it was affecting the way she was living and affecting her in her backyard. And Supreme Court shut it down. Said they weren't doing nothing wrong. But how do you feel about that?
I mean, that smoke. I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes, and I kind of feel that if someone's right next to me smoking a cigarette, knowing they're in my space, you do have people that would say, "Wait, I noticed you don't like cigarettes." I guess they could tell by your expression on your face. I'm sorry, and they'll move away, and they'll move away a little bit. Now, actually, to move probably down the whole entire block, because you can smell cigarettes. You can smell.
That was actually another thing: the cigarettes, the barbecue, and she said the loud music. Sometimes
Yeah.
kids are playing basketball, so it's like it infringes on your way of life. I was curious to think like, why? What do you think? Should that be a law to like kind of monitor that, or is that like a tricky situation that they kind of have to work out together?
That's a little tricky. I think that out of respect, I think if people really want to do something like that, they would get enough property to do that. I think that if you're, reasonably, if you're like next door to somebody, I don't think it's fair that they're smelling smoke all day long. I don't think it's fair that they have to, and I don't know all the details. I don't know if they're vegetarians, if the meat makes them sick. Because when you stop eating certain things, no matter what it is, and you eat it again, sometimes you can get sick.
Right.
So I would say it's hard to say a law because I think wow, they're just doing something that they like to do. But I think maybe there should be some type of penalty.
Yeah.
I don't think they should have a law. I don't think it should be like, wow, you cooking out today, you're going to go to jail. But I do believe that they should get a fine. I think that maybe if you're cooking more than 4 times a week, I think that's excessive to someone that lives next door to you, and they got to smell all that smoke. In fact, when I lived in Queens, the next door neighbors was cooking. I won't say what animal, but it was very disturbing. In fact, that scent stood around for about 3 months. And some people, some of the viewers, you guys know, and I don't want no one to take this in any disrespectful way, but and I know some things are cultural, meaning like they grew up doing these things in different countries, but that's something I'm not accustomed to, so I was actually highly offended. That scent was driving me nuts, and I don't know the scent that they might have been going through.
Right.
But yeah, I think that they should understand if they have neighbors, they want to get along with their neighbors. It's not always about you and what you're doing, and I know it's a private house, but realistically, we know it's not that private. If your neighbors could see and smell your food, it couldn't be that private. So I'm sure, or I'm gonna assume your food is delicious, and maybe it tastes better on the grill. But I believe that you might want to have some type of consideration for your neighbors, or maybe invest in a bigger property, a couple more acres, and I think that could work out.
It's funny that that's what money buys, right? Property and privacy, stuff like that, and comfortability.
True.
Nah, that's a good intake. I actually went into that topic the other way, but now hearing your perspective, I'm thinking like, okay, well, that actually makes sense. It's a good argument to be had. But it's definitely, it should, and I think consideration and respect does play heavy on that, on being a neighbor. I think that's important.
I mean, I would say yes, because, if someone's your neighbor, it's not just like someone that lives next door to you. They're all your neighbor, and you guys should be able to say, hey, good morning, how are you, how you doing, you need anything, can I help you with something? You never know.
Do you think people are afraid to say how they feel to their neighbor or to someone within their vicinity? Do you think they feel like they have to be PC, or they're afraid of offending somebody? They're saying that a smell or animal or something like that is offending them. Do you think that the time we're living in now is more sensitive to stuff like that?
I think fortunate, the respect part, right? And then unfortunate, the respect for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You respect yourself enough to care about how you feel, and you also respect how others feel. And it becomes really difficult sometimes to be able to say, hey, look, respectfully, hi, how are you? But can we have a conversation when you're not busy? Maybe how's your schedule? I would like to talk to you about something, very sensitive, and sit down and just have a conversation, maybe a cup of coffee or a glass of water.
See, like, I agree with that. I feel like that actually should be the way we go about things, but as a society, we're not so open in interacting with our neighbors, but yet we're supposed to be so PC. And that's actually why I wanted to talk about the Dave Chappelle special, the Sticks and Stones. I don't know
I did see Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones. First of all, I have a great deal of respect for Dave Chappelle. Too bad he didn't produce more stand-up.
Right.
He's a legend in his own time.
Right.
In our time, he's a legend. He's one of the best stand-up comedians ever. I would say he's top 3, or some people arguably he's in the top 5. And I could go with that. I could say Sanford and Son, Red Fox, aka Red Fox.
I think, for me personally, Dave Chappelle is the best.
Right.
Maybe that's a generational thing.
Yeah.
But I think in every style, out of every style that was out through Eddie Murphy stand-ups I've seen, and those are before my time, I kind of could say, even though they're still funny to this day.
Yes.
Or Red Fox and stuff like that. I think Dave Chappelle is more of a timeless thing because it's social commentary. And to me, I think even his old specials from like 2005 still stand through time. Like, it survives.
Well, I tell you, if you haven't seen For What It's Worth or the Platinum series, you have no idea what you're missing.
Right.
I guarantee you, that's probably one of the funniest stand-ups you will ever see in your life.
Yeah, a lot of people saying Sticks and Stones is as funny as, but I'm like, it's funny for its time, especially now. I think it's needed.
Yeah.
Especially with the politically correct problems that's going on right now. But I think as far as humor is concerned, and like comedy and jokes on which I think everyone could watch and be alright, not be offended.
Yes.
The old specials. Definitely something that y'all gotta watch. Definitely.
I'm telling you guys, you need, after you're done with this podcast, pop those 2 on, and you're gonna be laughing until the next day.
So what's happening now is they're saying the certain communities are in an uproar and are offended by the special, and the audience is like, who's offended? Like, who do you guys represent? What communities do you guys represent? On Rotten Tomatoes, some of the critics were giving his special a 0.
Yeah.
Like 11 or 9 or
right.
Really low scores. But yet the audience on Rotten Tomatoes it's 99. It's almost a perfect score. So it's like,
What does that say?
I think what that's saying is that the critics are losing the value of their position. You know what I'm saying? They're saying don't even watch it, don't even bother.
Right,
And it's like, why? Like, you guys are supposed to be progressive. Why limit people to a certain spectrum of thinking? Like, why can't you expand? You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of weird. It's backwards to me.
Well, you know, I would just say I watched, and I certainly watched the audience,
Right.
and some of the audience members, like male, females, different races, and you already know, et cetera, they were cracking up.
Right.
They couldn't even stop laughing. He couldn't even get to his next joke before they're laughing. So, and some of the things he said, wait, he said some funny stuff. I don't even want to say it because, see, coming from Dave Chappelle, the comedian,
Right.
I don't even see the problem.
That's the thing. Is like you're commentating on and making fun of topics that people feel are too hot to even talk about. And so when people express their ways of thinking, and I think that is one of his main points is the irony of how progressive people, certain people think being progressive or whatever they want to progress, they're just going about things the wrong way. Not necessarily that he disagrees or agrees. He's saying that they're just going about things in the wrong way, like the Me Too movement or the LGBT community. He feels that they're going about things in an aggressive way and in a way that it's gonna burn out. You know, people don't even want to hear people's problems and stuff like that anymore.
I think, you know, everyone has their own perspective on situations. I would just say that, you know, thank God, or thank whomever you would like to thank, yourself or whomever, right? We live in a country, and there's other countries that have freedom of speech, by the way. I just want to say that. I don't think that, I feel like this, if you don't like something, nothing's wrong with that. Just like if you like something, nothing's wrong with that. And I feel like if you have the freedom to do whatever you want, so should the next person. And you might offend one person, but the other person's okay, and vice versa. People have different lifestyles, they have different opinions, different philosophies, and we're not going to always agree or see eye to eye.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we should go to war.
Right.
So, you know, people do different things. So, hey, you know what? The very people that's criticizing, if you take a look at yourself first before you have an opinion on whatever people are doing. Because I know personally, you know, hey, I joke around. I'm sure you do it. I'm sure everybody else, well, I will hope everyone else does have fun and joke around and say these different jokes. I would just say that, you know, some people are gonna like your jokes, some people are not. That's just reality. And I don't think, you know, everyone's gonna always be pleased. And that's just how it is. You know, so if you don't necessarily like Dave Chappelle stand up, don't watch it.
Yeah, actually, I was interested, like, what do these guys have negative to say about it? And a lot of it just didn't make sense. I didn't think it applied to Dave Chappelle at all. Someone actually had the nerve to say he was predictable in his jokes.
Really?
And I was like, I think he's thinking outside the box. And I feel like we're in such a uniform way of thinking now. Like, everyone has to be a certain way. Whether I agree with certain people or not, I don't believe that everyone else should have to conform to a certain way of living and thinking just because it makes someone else uncomfortable. I feel like, especially when it's like forced down your throat, it makes people reject it more. It makes people feel like, okay, now this is too much. These are too many things that go against my beliefs, and it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Right.
So it's like your goal is to stop people from feeling uncomfortable, but yet you're making people feel uncomfortable. So to me, it's just it's a lose-lose situation.
Well, I think, you know, the way I feel about it, I feel like people should just do what they love, and just like everybody else is doing, I don't see why we're paying so much attention to one person. And I feel that, you know, We know he's joking.
Yeah, I mean he's winning now. This is all like free press for him.
Yeah.
And right now it's the #1 comedy special for
Congratulations,
the month.
Dave.
So like, I mean,
Got a great name, by the way.
yeah. And that actually reminds me too, on how people try to like categorize certain people into certain things. Like, you know, they say certain people are liberals or some people are all the way to the right wing stuff. I don't want to get too political, but I don't think just because someone believes in a certain way of living, a certain lifestyle, that you shouldn't like them or they shouldn't be your friend, or you shouldn't align yourself with people that don't believe necessarily in what you believe in.
Right.
And like one of the things he mentioned was pro-choice, in which I believe, but just because someone else might not believe in pro-choice doesn't mean that they're my enemy, or we're not.
I totally agree.
You know, we're not the same people.
I totally agree. And you know, it's funny because we live amongst each other. We see each other every day, and we say good morning and good afternoon, which is great. And I hope we continue to do that. We don't always know what's in each other's minds and each other's thoughts to say anything. And what's it going to hurt to just get along with somebody?
Right.
You know, disagree or just or not. You know, you do what's necessary. Okay, if you don't like something, vice versa. And just because you don't agree with someone doesn't mean you're the enemy, or necessarily that you're even bad for that matter.
Yeah, and I just think as people, as a people, and I can only take responsibility for myself, that we should just go about the things we go about them, learn and grow in our perspective, and allow our perspectives to change. Mine changes every day. You just changed my mind on something just now. So it's like, I don't think political things or religious things should affect people's friendships and fellowships and stuff like that. But I mean, besides all that, watch that Dave Chappelle thing.
Definitely watch that. And I just want to say it's true. We're always, as a people, we're always learning as individuals. We're always learning. Our views change, they evolve, they get better. Otherwise, life would be really boring.
Right.
By the way, if we all knew all the answers, we had all the answers, what would we do then?
I also wanted to talk about evolving, because they keep. I know I'm doing the segues, but it just, for whatever reason, these topics are spilling right into each other.
Yeah.
What about things you think should be left alone? Like, for example, they announced that they're coming out with the Matrix 4.
Okay.
Part of me is excited because I love the Matrix series.
Yes.
I really actually like the Matrix 1. That's my favorite of all the movies. I enjoy Matrix 2 and 3. And as a saga, it's cool. I'm excited in a way about the Matrix 4, but like a part of me is kind of like, I don't know if they should even touch that. Like, they should leave it alone. Like maybe they might try to touch on the mystery of is at the end, is he in the Matrix? In which I think he is. That's my opinion. Not to give it away, spoiler alert, but I believe he's.
It can't be a spoiler because we don't know anything about the movie and what they're gonna do yet.
Well, in the fourth one, right? We don't know.
Well, we don't know where. So yeah, you're referring to when they were kind of carrying him,
right?
Towards the end.
Yeah, then they made a deal, whatever. If you don't know about the movie, go see the movie. Basically, they made a deal, and the ending is kind of ambiguous. It's like, well, is he in the Matrix still, or are they free? And it leaves you to make that decision on your own, based on your own inclinations of the movie. I like when things end like that. I don't like when things are explained. So I'm kind of fearful of the Matrix 4. Like, oh, we're gonna explain that they were trapped the whole time, and it's, you know.
Well, my thing is, first off, I love the Matrix. I think at the time, they were probably the best movies out for many, many, many years. The storyline, I researched a lot of, the Matrix and where they got their material from, and it was very, very amazing. Some people may or may not know, but it's pretty in line with the Bible, by the way. And I was very impressed, and I was blown away. There was a lot of messages in it, and it kind of correlates with everyday life. I think that it could be great. I believe that there are stories that they can build on. Personally, me as a writer, I tell you what I would do. I would, as they were carrying him back, as they had stopped the attack on Zion, the city, the last cities, according to the movie, which, hey, maybe as a writer, I would have another city. Who's to say? I would have another city. I would come to the rescue. I would get Neo, build upon. I would take over the Matrix. I mean, there's some story, obviously I would make it interesting. I wouldn't make it easy. But certainly, I tell you what, I personally was a little disappointed in the ending. I was very disappointed in the ending because, we all want the good guy to win. And if he's going to be taken back into the Matrix, you kind of feel like we all take it back into the Matrix. So, what do you think?
See, I know you like when a good guy wins or like they survive.
Right.
I'm not so much sold on that. I kind of like does he live? Does he die? Who knows? Even if the hero dies, I know you don't like when the hero dies in movies.
I do. Well, I say we all. I was speaking generally,
right.
But no. Sometimes we do root for the bad guy.
Right. Now, for me, it's not even just the bad guy. It's more like I don't want the hero to die. I don't want the hero to fail. But depending on why he failed or how he fails, it's kind of like you're bringing it back down to earth. You're showing the vulnerability of even a hero, and it's not like I'm like, oh, you human too. It's not that kind of complex. It's more like I want to see characters and arcs explored and realism explored, because in real life, we don't always win.
That's true.
Whether you're a bad guy, you don't always win either. So it's just, I like little things where you make your own influence and you make your own ending. It's not like Lost. Like a lot of people don't like the way Lost ended. And
yeah, I was very highly disappointed.
I would say I'm like the only one in the world that likes the way Lost ended. The writing, everybody knows the writing was a little bit off the last seasons. But rewatching it, I'm like, wow, this is really smart. They have you come up with your own answers to a lot of the unanswered questions.
Right.
And it's kind of, I like that. You put your own imagination on things. Now, if they talk about, they're bringing the laws back and stuff like that, that's going to ruin it.
It's one of my favorite shows ever. Please just leave it alone.
See, and that's what I'm saying. So certain things, just leave them alone.
Yeah, I would say leave Lost alone, or completely throw away the whole last season.
Right.
And make it the proper way. From my understanding, from what I recollect, it was some years ago, the writers went on strike.
Yeah.
And they kind of rushed it or something.
Yeah.
So these things happen.
Yeah, they lost a season.
Right. So
to wrap it up.
Yeah. So in that aspect, by the way, Lost was literally amazing. I never was so anxious to see that show.
Right.
It was insane.
Yeah. I think it's one of the greats. And speaking of shows, right now they're about to wrap up Power. How you feeling about that?
Power?
No spoiler alerts on Power.
I mean, I'm just gonna say Sunday's episode of Power was I would say really well written and really well directed.
Directed the episode, right?
Who?
50 Cent.
50 Cent?
Yeah, that's his first episode he directed.
50 Cent, that was amazing. I really loved what you did and who you brought to the show. You know what I'm talking about.
I ain't watched it yet, so
it was.
I'm about to go get it though.
It was something I would do. Very genius. It was really perfect. It was lined up really well. Very realistic, by the way. Love the way it kind of came together.
Right.
And I'm just gonna say that if you haven't seen Power, you need to watch it. The directing is better. 50 Cent. I'm hoping that you do more directing. Finish it out with a bang. The direction that it's going in, it's like flawless. And I would just say, and I would encourage to do another show after Power.
Yeah,
Don't even wait on it. What is he doing?
He's doing another show. He has Mary J. Blige starring as one of the
Beautiful.
stars.
Congratulations.
And they're actually doing a continuation of Power too, another 6 seasons, with focus on a different cast. And it sounds cool.
And I like. By the way, it's funny you say that. Focus on different casts, because in the beginning of the episode, I noticed how none of the main stars was in it from the very beginning. He, the way he did it was really good.
Right.
It was really great. So some people know exactly what I'm talking about. For those that follow Power, and I would just say again, watch it.
I heard that they changed the theme song for the.
Well, yeah, they did change it.
Man, a lot of
And
people
50 changed it back, right? He did.
They
He did.
They forced him.
It was funny.
All I seen was like internet going crazy. Like even punchlines was made. I think DNA made a punchline like changed back to the old Power theme. Like everybody's going crazy about it.
I mean, I won't lie. I did like the original song. It was kind of embedded. And we are creatures of habit, so once we get used to something, it's really hard to like break away.
It's like the Sam Finna song, like theme song, like you just used to it. Or
Yeah.
like what's a few songs? Like, yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's true.
For me, it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. If they changed that, I would have been upset too.
I mean,
at first I heard about it, and then I heard the song with Trey Songz.
Yeah.
It's alright. Like I like it.
No, it's actually good. I like it too. I like the
But I can see why they like, yo, what is this? Like, they changed it back, and 50 actually changed it back,
You know,
which
50
is uncharacteristic.
Well, maybe. Well, you know what? I think it's great that he's listening to fans. It shows a great deal of respect for the fans that make the show popular, that watch the show, and he's giving them say over the theme song, and that's an amazing thing. And you know, it also sets an example for other directors. You know, and I believe that people, hey, you know what? We got our ideas. We're gonna do our own thing, and we shouldn't be influenced by others. We're always gonna be influenced by others. That's why we're where we at, whatever we're doing in life.
Right.
And I think it's really cool that, and the only thing he did is change the song back.
Right. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, what's the big deal? He's letting people feel empowered, and they feel like, wow, we won. It makes them feel good about themselves, and that's really smart.
I mean, the reason why it sticks out is because 50 Cent, unlike a lot of other artists like Nicki Minaj or even Drake, he's not necessarily affected by fan feedback. And I do want to talk about Nicki Minaj.
Oh yeah.
I'll get back to her in a second. But certain artists, I would call myself an artist. We're more emotional than others. We are affected by other energy. He's not. So for him to actually, and I do see it as a respect thing, for him to actually change it back shows that he's really in tune with his audience, and he does actually watch for feedback. And I think that's probably why Power is so successful over a lot of other shows. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this season. I'm gonna start. I like to binge, and that's another thing I want to talk about on Netflix. But I like to binge my shows and watch them in a day and eat food and get fat and stuff like that. So I'm just saying.
I gotta go to the gym.
Yeah. I gotta go eat. So yeah, I like the whole, direction that he's going with. Definitely showing that, listen, I'm listening. But
nice.
That's 50 Cent. But
yeah, it's one of my favorite artists, by the way. 50 Cent is one of my favorite artists. He did amazing things musically, and I'm really happy that he's, evolved to where he's at, and I hope that he continues to go to the next levels and, never stop.
Yeah, I think as far as the music, he already left a legacy. I think Get Rich or Die Trying was probably like, if not the best body of work from a rap artist. I would put that up there for top 5 albums to me, rap albums.
Well, I tell you, in 2010, first time I went to England, a small town called Windermere. It's the Lake District. Cumbria. It's 3.5 hour train ride from Heathrow Airport in London. And little boys, maybe 10, 11 years old, first thing out of their mouth, you know 50 Cent? You know 50 Cent? They don't. I'm just like, wow, you guys know 50 Cent is worldwide.
Right.
I don't know if people realize how much impact 50 Cent had over the globe.
No. I think people know. I think this generation even is starting to learn a little bit more about how much of an impact he had, especially how much respect he gets from the new class of top superstars like a Drake, or even a Jay-Z, which came before 50. But the respect he gets from all these other artists, I think 50 is starting now to enjoy the legacy he's made for himself, and which is great because he's alive, and unfortunately a lot of artists only get that respect when they pass.
Unfortunately, yes.
So for him to actually, he has this whole persona, people owe him money and stuff like that, the whole Joker thing, that's great and all, but for people to say, yo, listen, as far as rap's concerned, most rappers to this day or spitters are heavily influenced by 50 Cent. Some of my favorite writers have actually voiced that, and me personally, I was heavily influenced by 50 Cent. His style, flows, and a lot of his writing, a lot of his storytelling is top notch for me. But yeah, I ain't even trying to get all into the 50 thing.
Well, yeah, let's talk about Nicki Minaj's retirement, which I have mixed feelings. Obviously, Nicki Minaj, I just want to thank you for your music. Your music's great. Personally, I think Nicki Minaj lyrically is probably one of the best in history, and that's really the truth. I listen to the way she pronounces her wording and the direction she goes, well thought out. The flow is sick. The flow is sick. Like, I'm just gonna say that, and I'm not gonna get into the whole. I'm just gonna say, as far as I'm concerned, she's one of the, I would say, top 5. Some people argue the top 10 best rappers ever. I just want to say that.
You know what's crazy? I can hear that. I think what people's problem with Nicki Minaj is her content. I guess her mainstream content. I feel like she talks about the same things, but I feel like a lot of rappers that we celebrate and stuff like that talk about the same things too. Her content is her content. What people ignore is her ability to go into detail, punchlines, metaphors, wordplay, flows. She has mad flows. So the argument, a lot of people might think that's blasphemy, that statement, but if you really get into it, her longevity and how she had New York on her back for so long.
It's true.
And a lot of people don't say that, but she held New York down for years.
Thank you, Nicki.
But that argument, people gonna be like, what? But nah, like, if you really get into her lyrics and stuff like that, I can hear that argument.
I mean, she's very talented. She switches things up. And she's another one, I say, she also would listen to her audience sometimes when she's having, battles, whatever. She'll spit some street rap, and she's in touch with it. And I feel, I believe she's doing a movie now, or she's working on it.
I don't know. She's doing some other projects. I think she's trying to segue into something else.
Well,
she mentioned she was retiring because she wanted to start a family. But
okay.
A lot of people don't even believe it because they feel like she got so much talent in front of her. She's naturally a spitter. They're like, nah, she's gonna come back and stuff like that. But I think now, she has shown like she doesn't mind passing the torch. And I think now, doing that song with Megan Thee Stallion, has shown that she's like, I don't mind someone new coming and taking over that mansion. Even though, me personally, I don't look at her as just like a female rapper. Like,
I don't either.
I look at her as just a rapper.
That's all I see, Nicki. All I see you as a rapper, and it's a shame that people would say you're, they should say any woman, oh, you're good for a girl. No, forget about that. She's one of the best rappers.
No, she's for her. She's highly underrated. I think honestly, for me, and it's I think a lot of Queens rappers are just underrated.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of weird.
And I don't know why that happens, and you know, a lot of rappers did come out of Queens, you know, and it's true, and you know, maybe because people's egos or pride, they don't want to admit, you know, certain things like that, you know, and it also, I mean, don't get me wrong, and I'm originally from the Bronx, you know, I did live in Queens. Yeah, we know rap started out in the Bronx, and that's a great thing. But the influence that it has is worldwide now, and as you know, we hear it everywhere.
Right.
There's not a country I go to and I don't hear rap music. So I just want to say, you know, in regards to Nicki Minaj, you know, God bless. It's your choice what you want to do, your life. And either way, I wish you very well. And you know, if that's what she wants to do, start a family, that's great.
Nicki, come out with a new song, man, next week. April Fools, I don't know, do something. But yeah, definitely not. I wish her luck, and you know, we'll see what happens. But she's probably gonna come back. I think we can leave that alone right now. I kind of want to talk about Galaxy 10.
Oh, the Galaxy. Okay.
Versus what's soon to be announced.
The iPhone.
Team iPhone over here.
iPhone 11. I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be the 11.
I'm an advocate for, you know, the Galaxy. I think the Galaxy is best phones, but
I'm gonna advocate for the iPhone, and I'm not just saying that because he is going Galaxy, by the way. And I had a Galaxy. In fact, some people that know me know that I used to basically beat down the iPhone. I used to always brag about my Galaxy. This is when I had the Galaxy 4. And truthfully speaking, all my coworkers all had the iPhone.
Right.
But when it was time to take pictures,
yeah.
they asked me to take the picture. Because at that time, you know, the Galaxy 4 absolutely took better
Well,
pictures
I
than
mean,
the
I get beat up for the, you know, the green text, the green bubble. When I text somebody like, oh, the green bubble and all that, the jokes. But me personally, I do feel like the Galaxy, you know, and I don't work for Galaxy. I'm not being sponsored by Galaxy yet. But, you know, I just don't see how a phone could change and evolve so much, and I could appreciate it. And I feel like when I see the iPhones, it's just the same phone every year, just slightly different shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's just like a
Well,
little cheap.
all right. Well, you know, let me chime in for a second. Personally, I like the iPhone. I wouldn't change it for nothing. I appreciate what I can do with it. You know, maybe I could thank Galaxy for we don't have a button anymore.
Yeah.
But I just feel
Innovators.
I mean, look, if it takes Galaxy to force iPhone to
Right.
release technology,
Right.
then I would just say thank you.
See, don't get me wrong. If iPhone came out with a phone that like flips around my wrist or something, and like, you know, I can hold it up like a weird display, I'm gonna get an iPhone.
You already iPhone. Listen, Apple. Listen to them. You already said it. Just come out with a phone like this. He said he's gonna wear it. You heard what he said. And
I'm just saying, if it come out with a better phone, I'm aware. I don't have like this Xbox and PlayStation, whatever console has better games or at the time. I don't have no allegiance with one of these super companies. They're not paying me. I'm gonna go with the better phone. For me, for the past couple of phones, since the Galaxy 8 Plus, it's just been better than the iPhone. I feel like they've been playing catch up. I read an article that you know, the 11 is gonna be way better than all these other stuff. They even talking about like reinventing the whole Apple brand and stuff. And, like, they discontinued the Apple Watch.
okay.
They're coming out with
Really?
a new style of Apple, the 5, stuff like that. So it's like,
Okay.
I see Apple, you know, making strides to you know, be on top or to stay on top. But I feel like if they don't change and make drastic changes soon, everyone's gonna get hip onto they're just changing the screen.
Well,
and you know, the specs are not even too different.
I think Galaxy, however, did drop the ball when some of the phones blew up, and not to mention it took so long for the next phone to come out. which is why I went back to iPhone in the first place, which I'm happy I did, because I just feel like it has everything that I need. You know, and I feel that they're gonna evolve in the right way, in the right direction. And I'll be very surprised if the Galaxy camera is which is important to me,
Right.
and I know it's important to a lot of people. A lot of people like to take selfies, you know, stuff like that. So,
Listen, I mean, if Apple sponsor, you know, Dave's Talks and all that, all right, you know how that goes.
I mean, and then Galaxy sponsor Dave, because I tell you this, we have this discussion all the time. It's a big thing for us. It's a big thing, and
Right.
I don't think there's anything that anyone could do to get him to buy an Apple. But
Listen,
Apple, you did hear what he said. He said,
do the thing, and then we talking. All right.
but you've been advocating for Galaxy forever.
The same, man.
It's a big thing. Everybody around him has Apple iPhones, and he still has Galaxy. He won't switch that
Saying
up.
something, but listen, Apple, like I said, man, you know, just do the thing. I mean, I think that's it. That wraps it up for the week. We could,
Well, hey, let's just talk about one more thing. Let's talk about the matter of fact. Do you want to talk about
the ID facial recognition thing. I kind of wanted to touch on that. And that kind of reminds me of the whole Apple and Galaxy thing, because like I feel like for whatever reason when I'm talking about something like a topic, my phone is like listening to me, because for whatever reason I'll look at my phone after talking about a specific topic random, and my phone's like, hey, do you want to buy it full time? I'm just like, that's kind of it.
that does happen all the time. Every time I mention buying a new car, all these apps, all these brands pop up on my phone as well. Every time I go into
That's like,
something.
it's kind of like invasive of my.
All right, so we'll leave that alone then. We'll leave it alone for now.
I want to talk about that though. Next episode, we definitely want to get more into that.
We got some stuff to talk about. I can guarantee that.
Amazon helping the feds, you know, stuff like that.
Hey,
Nah,
So, I just want to say we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Much love.
right.
And we'll see you again on David Talks.
All right.